What up, guys? Welcome back to Dead Man Walking Podcast Reform Podcast Bracket 2024. Just going to give you an update. We just had our final four matchups close out for the Sweet 16, and we have our Elite 8 set. So I just wanted to give you a quick update on that. We had four matchups over the last 24 hours. We had Cross Politic versus Cannon Press, Dead Men Walking versus the King's Hall, Apologia versus the podcast, and This is Foster versus AD Robles. In the first matchup, Cannon Press took out Cross Politic with 56% of the vote, Cross Politic at 44%. So Cannon Press will be moving into the Elite 8. Congratulations to them. Dead Men Walking, our podcast was up against the King's Hall. I predicted we would not move on from that because the King's Hall has one heck of a following, and I was right. They crushed us 78% to 22%. I was happy just to pass the 20% threshold. So that was awesome. So congratulations to the King's Hall. Hold on. I'm gonna bring up vote counts here too, just so we have it. 1,642 votes in the Cross Politic Cannon Press, and then for Dead Men Walking and King's Hall, 1,228 votes, if you guys are interested. The third matchup was Apologia Studios versus the podcast, the Jeff Durbin versus Doug Wilson showdown. And Apologia actually won that pretty handily, 64% to 36%, with 1,229 votes being cast. So congratulations to Apologia. And then the closest one to watch, this was the one that I was interested in seeing, and it did not disappoint. This is Foster versus AD Robles. And actually, Michael Foster tweeted out and said, hey, go vote for AD, which I retweeted and said, endorsement from the competition. But he said, hey, I was an early adopter of AD Robles when he had less than 200 subs on YouTube. So I support him. But man, This is Foster ekes it out 51% to 49%. Just barely squeaked by AD Robles to get his place in the Elite 8. So congratulations to This is Foster. 1,331 votes cast in that category. So to sum it up, here's our Elite 8. As soon as this video ends and I stop live streaming, I will set up the votes for our Elite 8. We're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to do all four today. All four matchups for the Elite 8 are going to go on today. So you'll be voting on that to get us to the final four. The matchups are Dividing Line and Cultish. That's going to be like an in-house battle, kind of, if you know the history of where Cultish is from and all that. Haunted Cosmos versus Just Thinking. Remember, Just Thinking coming off that huge win against Theology Pugcast, 51 to 49%. But now they're up against probably the number one show to beat in the bracket, Haunted Cosmos and Just Thinking. The number 3 matchup is going to be Cannon Press versus the King's Hall. That's going to be a tough one, I think, for Cannon Press. King's Hall showing very well. I do like that someone pointed out that the Dead Men Walking podcast and the bracket, 4 years in the making, is just a ruse for Brian Suave to challenge himself as himself in Haunted Cosmos versus the King's Hall, which I guess could happen technically. The 4th matchup is Apologia and This is Foster. That's going to be I think that's going to be a hard bracket for Michael Foster. Apologia is just running through people, which their last bracket, though, against the podcast was their lowest, 64%. Before that, they were 94%. Before that, they were 94%. So the first 2 rounds, Apologia crushed the competition, 94% in both of those, 64% in the most recent one. I think This is Foster could make a run right here. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe he's making alliances with AD Robles and AD's guys come over and vote for This is Foster. Some of his fans jump on board. I don't know. There's all kinds of backdoor stuff going on behind the scenes. Hey, I encourage it. If Foster wants to pick up some additional votes and say, hey, guys, I was supportive of AD in our round. Come on over and vote for Apologia. Hey, there's no rule against that. Cannon Press versus King's Hall. Look at Haunted Cosmos guys are probably going to jump on Kings Hall and go, hey, we got to get them through to the next round. But Canon Press, hey, they could go, we've got 10 podcasts over there. Guys, all vote for us. And then Haunted Cosmos Just Thinking. I can't see, look, I love my Just Thinking guys, but I can't see them getting past Haunted Cosmos. It would be an upset of upsets if Just Thinking could upset Haunted Cosmos and beat them, because I mean, they're just 3,000 votes strong when they call their army to vote. They do it. And then Dividing Line versus Cultish, in-house battle, reigning champ Dividing Line versus Cultish, which always shows strong. Cultish was at 66% in their last bracket, 59% in the bracket before that. And then where were they? 95% in the first round. So they always have strong showings. Cultish has never dipped below 2/3 in any of their brackets. So, and neither has Dividing Line. So that's going to be a fun one to watch as well too, which way people will split on that. So that's our Elite Eight: Dividing Line and Cultish, Haunted Cosmos, Just Thinking, Canon Press and Kings Hall, Apologia, and This Is Foster. We'll be voting on those momentarily as soon as I am the live stream here. Guys, I've also had a few comments come out and say, hey, Canon Press, what podcast? Well, Apologia Studio does have a podcast, but they're also a studio of podcasts. I included them and Canon Press. That's it is what it is. I did this for fun at 10 o'clock at night in my office one night. Maybe I didn't think it through as well as I should. I'm taking constructive criticism right now. We're making some changes. So next year, I don't know. We might have to specifically be a podcast, and you can't be part of more than one podcast might be a rule as well too. Because we're coming up against like the Kings Hall and Haunted Cosmos. They share a host. So it's like, is that fair? I don't know. Of course, as a Christian, I really don't care about fair. I care about just. So is it just? I don't know. So just to let you guys know, next year, we'll probably put some rules in place that might appease some of these questions, not just to appease you, but it's probably the right thing to do too, as this bracket grows. And who knows, if we get entry fees involved and if we get, into cash prizes and things like that next year, we might need to have a little more structure to it. As of right now, this was just something I thought up, did for fun last year on a whim. This year, I just reached out and said, hey, anyone got any more podcasts we want to add? And it was really based off of my Twitter feed responses. There was no litmus test of like this many subscribers or they have to be on the show or anything like that. So next year, we're going to probably be expanding it to more podcasts. We're also going to have some rules of how you qualify and also what is a podcast. And probably you can't have more than one podcast. And a lot of that was brought up by, I've talked to Josh Howard of Eschatology Matters. I've talked to Matt Everhard. He's going to be included next year, and we're going to go over some rule changes, but that's just an update for you guys on what's coming next year. But right now we got Elite Eight. We got to vote. You're going to see these in about 10 minutes here. As soon as I get off of here, Dividing Line versus Cultish, Haunted Cosmos versus Just Thinking, Canon Press versus the Kings Hall, Apologia versus This Is Foster. All four of those matchups today. So then we get into the final four on Saturday morning. That'll take us to Sunday morning. We're going to take off for the Lord's Day, and then the championship will be held on Monday. And we will see who the podcast winner is for 2024, defeating 63 other podcasts to make it to the final. Take home the trophy, as well as some other goodies that I will send out to them once I get in contact with where they want it sent. So, guys, that's all I got. Don't want to stay on here too long. I always say that, and then I end up making a 10-minute video because I'm a talker. Good thing I'm in podcasting and real estate where all you do is really talk. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Let's vote for the final four. We're in the Elite Eight. Here we go.